Hello, mathematicians. Welcome back to Number Corner. For Number Corner today, we will be solving the remaining story problems around the world for the rest of this month. Here's what you will need: your whiteboard, marker, and eraser. If you don't have a whiteboard, a piece of paper and a pencil will work just fine. You can pause the video now to get what you need. Throughout this month, we have been solving a story problem to go with each flag we've seen on our calendar. We are going to work to solve the story problems through the 28th of February. I will read the story problems 2 times. The second time I read the problem, I would like you to write down an equation on your whiteboard, just like we've done all month. When we're done with our story problems, we're going to have a look at our calendar grid observation chart. Let's take a look at our first story problem. We are going to Monaco. Listen on the first read. 25 people went to Monaco and saw 250 cars racing in the Grand Prix. How many people in all? On the next read, write your equation with an empty box for your missing part. 25 people went to Monaco and saw 250 cars racing in the Grand Prix. How many people in all? Show a connection if your equation looks like this. There are 25 people who went to Monaco. They saw 250 cars racing. How many people in all? Now, you may be thinking, I don't really understand what they mean when they say how many people in all. Because they're talking about 25 people, but then they say 250 cars. So you may be thinking, wouldn't there only be 25 people? Why do we count the 250 cars for 250 people? What do you think? Well, you might be thinking cars don't drive themselves. Someone has to be driving the car. So there has to be a person inside of each car. So there must be 250 people in those cars. That's a tricky part. We needed to use some deeper thinking to figure out. Now that this makes a little more sense, I want you to solve this problem. You can use an open number line. You can draw pictures. You can use your splitting strategy, whatever works best for you. Then we'll have a look at how to solve it together. I'm going to solve this problem using the open number line. You may have solved it in a different way, but you can draw your number line with me anyway. Let's draw our open number line. 2 arrows on the ends. Now this problem is asking us to add together 250 and 25. I'll start with my bigger number, so I have less work to do. 250 on my number line. Well, I know if I break 25 up, I have 20 and 5. I also know if I'm on 50 and I count by 20, I end up on 270. Then I'll add my 5 more to have 275. There are 275 people in all. Let's look at our next story problem. Erase your boards. For this problem, we are traveling to Taiwan. Listen for the first read. 26 people went to Taiwan and saw some people going to the Longshan Temple. There were 286 people in all. How many people were going to the temple? As I read for the second time, write your equation. 26 people went to Taiwan and saw some people going to the Longshan Temple. There were 286 people in all. How many people were going to the temple? Show a connection if your equation looked like this. There are 26 people who went to Taiwan. They saw some people going to the Longshan Temple. There are 286 people in all. Our sum tells us our missing part is one of our two add-ins. Use one of your strategies to solve this problem. Then we'll look at it together. Use your whiteboard to show your work. I'm going to solve this problem using the open number line. If you solve this problem in a different way, I'd like you to solve it on your open number line with me now. Draw your number line. We need to find this missing part. That's the difference between 286 and 26. So I'm going to start with my biggest number on the right side of my number line. I'm going to take some backwards jumps. Now I know I can break up 26 into 20 and 6. I know that 286 minus 6 is 280. That's my ones. I can also make it a little easier by breaking up my 20 into two tens. 280 minus 10 equals 270. 270 minus 10 more equals 260. There are 260 people in the Longshan Temple. You may have solved this in a different way. Let's solve one more together before you solve the last one on your own. Erase your boards. For this problem, we have traveled to Peru. Listen on the first read. Some people went to Peru and saw 270 people riding dune buggies in the Peruvian desert near Ica. There were 297 people in all. How many people went to Peru? Think about what this problem is asking you as you write your equation. Listen for a second time. Some people went to Peru and saw 270 people riding dune buggies in the Peruvian desert near Ica. There were 297 people in all. How many people went to Peru? Show a connection if your equation looks like this. Some people went to Peru and saw 270 people riding dune buggies. There were 297 people in all. This problem wants to know how many people went to Peru. That's our missing part, is one of our two add-ins. Use your strategy to solve this problem. Let's have a look at how we can solve this problem on an open number line, even if you solved it in a different way. Follow along and draw a number line with me. Here's my number line. I'm looking for the difference between 270 and 297. I'll put my smaller number on the left and my bigger number on the right. And I'm trying to find the difference. Well, I know if I'm at 270 and I take a jump of 10, I'll end up at 280. Well, I also know if I take another jump of 10, I will end up at 290. And the difference between 290 and 297 is just 7. So I add up the numbers on the top of my line, 10, 20, 7, to get the answer of 27 people went to Peru. You may have solved this in a different way and gotten the same answer. Now let's have a look at the very last problem for the last day in February. You will solve this problem on your own and show your teacher in Seesaw. I will read this twice for you now. 28 people went to Zimbabwe and saw 280 people looking at Victoria Falls near the Zambezi River. How many people in all? Think about your equation for this second read. 28 people went to Zimbabwe and saw 280 people looking at Victoria Falls near the Zambezi River. How many people in all? Your job is to solve this problem in Seesaw. Before we go today, I want to have one last look at our calendar grid observation chart for February. We saw many patterns that repeated in our story problem equations. We noticed that for every day, the date of the month matched the first addend in our equations. On February 1st, our first addend was 1. On the 2nd, our first addend was 2. You also noticed that our second addend was counting by tens. On February 1st, we had 10. On the 2nd, 20, then 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way down through our last day. You also noticed that our sums were going up by 11 every day. There was also a pattern in our missing parts. It went sum, second addend, first addend. Sum, second addend, first addend, and repeated and repeated. Good work with your observations and solving your story problems. I'll see you next time for Number Corner.